And a very good Thursday evening to you. Georgia Tech handled business versus VMI last Saturday. Now it's back to the business of the ACC as your Yellow Jackets jump back into conference play this Saturday, taking on number 19 Louisville. They'll do so on the heels of a 59-7 drubbing of the Keydets at Bobby Dodd Stadium at Hyundai Field. We'll recap the standouts from that game last Saturday, detail the challenge that awaits Georgia Tech versus the reigning ACC runners-up at 3:30 this Saturday, and we will do so over the next hour here on the Brent Key Coaches Show. My name is Andy Demetra. We are live tonight from New Realm Brewing Company on the East Side Belt Line of an Atlanta. Gorgeous night here on the rooftop. Great to be with you again, and as always, great to be with the man to my left. Let's welcome him in, head coach of your Yellow Jackets, Brent Key. Coach, how are you?
You know, I think the chicken tenders here might be the absolute best chicken tenders. The fries, the burgers. I'm looking at these cheeseburgers.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so you know how I'm doing. I'm hungry.
Well, I think you have some pull around here. We can probably get you a plate.
No, man.
You know, part of the job of a head coach is to shake hands and kiss babies, but that's not always a figure of a speech, because literally minutes before you came up here, you were shaking hands and kissing a baby, and I believe this is the youngest fan we have ever had in the history of the... Yeah, hold her up, or him up. I apologize.
So how old?
3 months old.
Name?
Brooks. Dressed in the right colors. And, Mom, you have earned every bit of what you're drinking right now. So congratulations to you as well. Well, I think Brooks was probably happy with what happened on Saturday at Bobby Dodd Stadium at Hyundai Field, 59-7. Took care of business, very crisp, very business-like effort, you could say, versus VMI. Give us the final diagnosis of that game, what you imparted to your fellows afterwards.
You know, I was really pleased. I was pleased with the game. Pleased with you're always pleased with when you get a win. You know, we say it every week that it's hard to win, and winning's hard. We put a lot of time, a lot of effort into it, and a lot of really 365 in a year, 350 days probably into the preparation to play 12 games a year. So, but. The challenge last week was to play for 60 minutes, regardless of any circumstances, regardless of the weather, regardless of who was in the game, regardless of the opponent, all of those things, and that's been a challenge for us, over the last couple of years, and we have not done that to the point where we needed to do it. And I thought Saturday we did. We were able to play a lot of guys, which is really big for the experience and the development of players down the road. A lot of those guys we'll need this year, and we'll play meaningful reps as the season goes on.
And nice to know as well the weather was not nearly as fraught as everybody had feared on Saturday. One thing you were looking to see and that your team delivered on was more disruption up front defensively. VMI was playing without a starting quarterback. They had a first-team All-SoCon running back, so you knew they'd try to keep it on the ground and maybe take some air out of the ball. But still, the challenge was to shed blocks, get some TFLs. You guys did that. 3 sacks, 10 tackles for loss. It's easy just to say, but it's because you guys were physically more dominant than VMI, or they were physically overmatched. But when you turned on the tape, what were some of those better habits, better techniques you saw from your defense to sniff out those runs and create negative plays?
Well, I thought they played hard. They played with some confidence, and when you don't have a great game, the talent doesn't change the next week. But what happens sometimes is the confidence, the belief in themselves and the belief in themselves as a unit decreases just because of the outcome of a football game. And for those guys to be able to immediately get that confidence back, to be honest, it really showed during this week of practice. That's where I thought it showed the most, was the confidence throughout the week of practice this week.
That's good. It has a perpetuating effect when you have a performance like that. Georgia Tech held VMI to 5 first downs. That was the fewest first downs allowed by a Tech defense since 1964. One of those numbers that kind of sneaks up on you, doesn't it?
Wow.
Yeah, 1964, and you guys had 30 first downs, plus 25 in first down differential. That was a new school record. You also saw the debut of Trey Maddox. The carries were very evenly distributed among your backs. Trey Maddox, 9 carries, 53 yards. That led Tech and his first career touchdown. His other freshman, Scooty Carey, touchdown as well. His first as a Yellow Jacket. He finished 4 of 37. Your thoughts on the performances of those two young guys and what they did, maximizing their playing time on Saturday?
Well, first off, it was needed. It was very much needed to be able to get those guys valuable playing time. Coming into the season, we knew we knew what Jamal was. We knew who he was as a player. But we also knew that until these other guys stepped up and really started to develop to the point where they can play meaningful reps in games, you can't carry the ball every play of every game for an entire season, and so this is going to really help us throughout as the season goes on. You can practice all you want, but game reps are different. So to see those guys get in there, Chad back healthy again, I think you saw the burst that he possesses at times. And whereas last week he was probably 90%, maybe he'd tell you 100, but probably 85, whatever. And to have him back 100% this week, Trey, Scooter,
yes.
That's hard to say as an announcer. Isn't it? Scooter, yeah. Anthony.
I'll take care of that. Yeah.
No, you said it. So
only Anthony when he gets a penalty flag. That's when he becomes Anthony.
Scooter. Let's keep it Scooter.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, keep those flags in the pockets, and you can be Scooter all day long. Trey Maddox was a guy who suffered a knee injury right around this time last year in his high school senior season. So a credit to him to rehab. I know he enrolled in January to help hasten that rehab process with the medical team at Georgia Tech. 6'1". He's a taller running back, but he doesn't run upright. You see him hit that hole definitively on Saturday. What is it about his skill set that you like that can make him a viable part of this backfield?
Well, he's a big back.
Yeah.
He's a big back. Mass, and I should know this being a Tech grad, but the mass, speed and mass equals force. Am I correct on that?
You're asking the wrong guy. I didn't go to an engineering school, unfortunately.
Mass and speed, and there's something about power equated from the ground. Bottom line is 215, 220 pounds.
I mean, I know force equals mass times acceleration. I don't know if that was what you're going for, yeah.
I can say it now for that Syracuse education. That's impressive.
Yeah. Good, it's impressive to someone.
But no, it's he's a big back. He falls forward. He's got great balance and body control. Mm-hmm. I mean, you very rarely see him get dinged and fall over. He's able to stay upright, but with low pads. He runs with low center of gravity. He's 30 pounds heavier than some backs, and it was really good to see him out there. One cool story about Trey, and so when he hurt his knee in high school a year ago, I talked to him that Saturday morning, the day after, and Trey told me, "Coach, don't count me out. I'm going to be there for you, and I'm going to play next year, and I'm going to help us win."
That's awesome.
And fast forward to this past week when we knew he was going in, we knew he was playing, and I called him in my office to tell him that he was going in the second series. And I told him, I said, "I remember when you called me and you told me that." And he got this biggest smile on his face, and it was kind of an emotional time. Fast forward a year, and now he's playing in a college football game.
Boy, and he looked like he belonged out there, as did Scooter Carey. Haynes King, one half of work. He made the most of it, 17 of 22, 275, 3 touchdowns. Didn't carry the ball once, which is good. Kind of keep that jersey clean. He enters the week 5th in the nation in completion percentage, 76.4%. Brent, that does not happen by accident. How has Haynes' start to this year been a reflection of the work that he put in this offseason to improve himself as a quarterback?
Yeah, he's been very efficient in everything. It's efficient in the run game, efficient in dispersing the ball. I mean, if you look at the touches across the board offensively, getting the ball to different guys, he's taking care of the flow. He's doing a tremendous job of understanding when to make throws that are tight throws, when to throw the ball away. And look, an incompletion, that gives you the right to go to the next down. And he's done a really good job. He's improved so much in that regard. Just excited about Haynes continuing to progress as the season goes.
Yeah, he'll get a great challenge from a Louisville defense that has some gaudy numbers. They've only played 2 games. They're coming off a bye, and they'll be at home this Saturday taking on your Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Again, 3:30 Tommy's Leather at L&N Stadium. I won't give the full name of the stadium. It's a mouthful. But it's in Louisville, and that's where you'll find the Jackets this Saturday. We'll take our first time out, just getting underway here. It's the Brent Key Coaches Show live from New Realm Brewing on the East Side Beltline of Atlanta. We're back after this on the Georgia Tech Sports Sports Network. Brought to you by Coca-Cola. Is Coke Zero Sugar the best Coke ever? Take a taste. Gorgeous Thursday night, where you can find us every game week on the rooftop of New Round Brewing Company, Eastside Beltline of Atlanta, and a live edition of the Brent Key Coaches Show. I'm Andy Demetra. He's Brent Key. We talked about some of the standouts and highlights from that 59-7 win over VMI on Saturday. Moves you guys to 3-1 and jumping back into ACC play Saturday when you take on Louisville. I had several people ask me this in the ensuing days. The answer could be very mundane, but it happens so rarely in college football that it still can feel arcane to a lot of people, and that's the decision to shorten the second half to 10-minute quarters. Can you kind of go through that process, how that came about, what those conversations were at halftime, and the decision to truncate the third and fourth quarters?
I'll be honest with you, I did not know that either. I mean, I was a little shocked at it. But the reason behind it, when they gave the opportunity up, I guess when I don't know if the other school agrees to it and they ask us, I'm not really sure how the dynamics of it work, but knowing that we had a comfortable lead, knowing that we had a really big game coming up this week, and then a really long stretch the rest of the season. To be able to play a 3:30 game, finish it up a little bit quicker, save some reps on some guys, get guys work that needed to work. Look, would have liked to have gotten a lot of guys more reps, but at the same time, you're putting the load on your body, and the other guys that are out there, and and it's not just about the football team. I mean, it's about everyone else. It's about the facilities crew, it's the stadium crew, it's the workers, it's all those people that are so involved in everything we do. To be able to give them a little bit of a break and get them away. So, I mean, in a matter of about 2 minutes, all those things have to go through your head and make the decision. So,
who first brought it to your attention? Was it a member of your staff who had that communicated to him from the folks at VMI?
No, we were actually in the locker room. I was in the coach's locker room at halftime. It was probably 4 or 5 minutes before I got back up in front of the team to go out on the field, and somebody knocked on the door. I looked over, and it was the referee.
Oh wow!
And I was like, oh gosh, what did we do? I thought we'd played pretty clean. I thought he was coming in to tell me something, and he proposed it and said it, and said he's got to know right now. So went with my gut and what was best for our football team.
Put you on the spot. Does that happen though, where coaches pay a visit, or I should say referees pay a visit to coaches during halftime?
First time I've ever seen it.
So that's what you're kind of surprised by that, but it was obviously for
really was
nothing sinister, and that's good to see. So Jamal Haynes set a very high bar for himself last year, and I think created an expectation where you're going to get a dynamic, game-breaking running back every single Saturday. Reality sometimes is different, and you look at his last 2 games, maybe not the explosiveness that we've come to expect out of Jamal. It's 18 combined carries, 54 yards. Anything that he maybe has gotten away from, or is he in a run-of-the-mill lull that all running backs experience?
You ever been in a car wreck?
Knock on wood, not yet.
Yeah. I will say this. Yesterday's practice was the first time that my man Jamal has been 100% full speed.
That's good.
In a while. Look, we play this game because we love it. We coach this game because we love it. There's injuries that prevent you from playing. There's injuries that prevent some people from playing, and then there's injuries that will not prevent some people from ever not playing. I guess that's the best way of saying it. And when the doctors, the medical staff look at someone and they clear them and say that something cannot be hurt worse, it's a pain tolerance. Some guys can and some guys can't. Actually, very few can. So that's where Jamal Haynes, one of the toughest people I've ever come across. He, pound for pound, is the toughest person I've ever come across, and not tough like fake toughness, getting in a fight with somebody. He's truly tough in regards to playing the game of football. Everything goes about it. Doesn't want to miss a rep in practice. But to see him rolling the last couple of days in practice and that big smile on his face again, it's been great.
That's good. Seeing that smile is a good sight for you, probably less so for the next opponent. What was cool on Saturday as well is to see so many guys get their perseverance rewarded. And one player in particular was your wide receiver, Leo Blackburn. Caught his first touchdown since 2022. Talking about a young man who missed all of the 2021 season with the knee injury, missed all of last season with the knee injury, is back healthy, contributing, and being that big body target at 6'5". How special was that moment for you to see Leo get into the end zone and the reaction and celebration that I'm sure you guys shared afterwards?
Yeah, well, if anybody saw when he came off the field, I mean, that was an embrace that was a long time coming. And I thought the coolest thing about it, when he caught the ball, I mean, he took off. He really did. And to be 6'5", 225, and to take off and run the way he did, that's going to boost his confidence level, boost his just within game to play that fast all the time. It was, when you look at Leo, age doesn't really mean anything in the game of football when it comes to experience, right? With the experience that he has to this point right now, it's really, it's like he's a freshman, redshirt freshman almost. So, I know to all of us, it's like he's been around forever, but experience-wise, he's been laid up and hurt a lot. And we saw glimpses of this starting to come around in the spring and in preseason camp, and now to see him be out there and be a factor in the offense is great.
It was on a screen pass. Was it Ben Galloway who kicked out and made that seal block to spring Leo for the touchdown?
Yeah, Ben Galloway got out there. It was actually a little bit of a screw up on the how the play was executed, but it ended up working out. And that was Leo's first touchdown catch this year. But if anybody watches Leo and the way he's played the first few games, he's been probably one of the most dominant blockers at the wide receiver spot that I've seen in a long time. He really has. I know he got flagged for the one penalty in the Georgia State game, which I will stand on the table to this day and tell him to do nothing different on that block. He has it in him, and now to see him to reap the rewards for it.
Yeah, finally got the catch and the touchdown to go with it. That was his first reception of the year. You also got a lot of snaps in that second half for other members of your offensive line. We saw Tana Alu-Tupuola take over for Weston Franklin. Yeah, that rolled right off the tongue. Professional, capital J journalist right here. Harrison Moore got some reps in the first half as well, taking over for Joe Fusel at left guard. You had Brent Best out there. You had the aforementioned Ben Galloway. What do you think of that second unit of offensive line? How meaningful those snaps can be for them moving forward?
Yeah, well, they needed them. They definitely needed the live game reps. Usually when those things, when games like that occur, you have when the entire second group goes in, there's lulls. There's some good things, but they were able to really not miss a beat and be able to go out and execute and move the football up and down the field. So that was really good to see those guys come in there and work together and be able to do their job.
Yeah, Zach Pyron orchestrated the offense for much of the second half. Also saw Aaron Philo for the first time. Brody Rhodes got some snaps as well, so that quarterback room was well represented on Saturday as well. 59-7 the final over the VMI Keydess. Georgia Tech, by the way, 38 first half points. The first time they have topped 35 points and a half since the last time they went to Louisville, 2018, and what I think remains one of the most cathartic victories ever for Georgia Tech fans against that coaching staff of the Cardinals. That is where you'll find Georgia Tech this Saturday, 3:30, Tommy's Leather. Tech and number 19, Louisville. We'll start to turn the page and delve into the scouting report of the preseason ACC runner-up Louisville Cardinals in just a moment. Getting started here on a Thursday night. It's the Brent Key Coaches Show from New Realm Brewing here on the East Side Beltline. We're back after this on the Georgia Tech Sports Network. Along with Brent Key, I'm Andy Dementia. We are back for the Brent Key Coaches Show live once again at New Realm Brewing Company, Somerset Terrace on the East Side Beltline of Atlanta. Good to see a lot of folks enjoying themselves on the rooftop here, getting an early jump on the weekend. I think that's a bride-to-be over there, sitting there by the edge of the rooftop. A little pre-gaming for the bachelorette party, I'm guessing.
I guess.
Yeah. What better place to do it than at the Brent Key Coaches Show? Like I've been saying.
We're looking for other options.
I don't know about that. We do have speakers here through the rooftop.
I know. That's why I said it.
Get her a drink. Tell her congratulations from us.
When have I ever minced words?
Never. Never. Since the first word that you ever spoke, you have not been mincing them. You did get a visitor to your office earlier this week. Caught the eye of social media. One former Georgia Tech letter winner, Joe Anawayi, a.k.a. WWE's Roman Reigns, swung by the office this week. Pretty cool.
Yeah, Joe's a good person, man. I mean, just to catch up and talk about things that he really, a big part of the conversation was we were talking about Georgia Tech, what it's like to be a student athlete at Georgia Tech, things we would have done different, which is a lot outside of the 20 required hours of athletics for a student athlete. No, we did, and then he had some business to do later on, and be able to see him and everyone else that was involved in it. But it was good to see Joe. He's such a humble, good-hearted family person. I mean, some people that just know him from WWE and just see the production that really don't know him. I mean, he's a good man, good person, good Tech man. He plays the cocksure role well. I do want to know, what did Sheamus think of Roman swinging by your office? Because we know Sheamus from WWE was out in Dublin and then and there became a Georgia Tech fan. You invited him back for the opener versus Georgia State. He was at Syracuse with the team on the sidelines. Was he okay with this? I don't need you to get in the middle of a beef now. Yeah, I don't want to start any bad blood. I don't want to start any bad blood on anything. What is bad blood? October 5th. Yeah, it's at State Farm Arena. Yeah. I know you're also, speaking of events taking place in the city of Atlanta. I know we're kind of veering off subject here, but you had to be really fired up at the breaking news today that Metallica announced its tour dates for 2025, and they will be performing at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in June. Okay, I did not know that. I don't have social media. I don't know any of those things. So nobody planted that bug in your practice? No, they did not. But I saw Metallica at the Georgia Dome in 2000. On the tour was, I can't remember the name of the tour, but it was Metallica, Kid Rock, Korn, System of a Down. And there was one other. That's basically your weightlifting playlist. It was right outstanding. Yeah. I mean, you talk about. I mean, it was Tuesday and Wednesday practice playlist is what it was. Wow. And so the ironic part of this, imprisoning me, all that us. Well, I mean, hey, it's your show. You can do karaoke if you want. What makes this interesting too, for those of you who don't know, Brent is also an unabashed parrot head. Yes. Huge Jimmy Buffett guy. So I imagine the Venn diagram of Jimmy Buffett fans and Metallica fans. There aren't a lot of people in that overlap in the middle. You may have that space all to yourself. Well, I'm proud to say I've seen Jimmy Buffett. God rest his soul. I saw Jimmy Buffett live 23 times. So yes, I am a parrot head. I grew up going to the Gulf Coast. He's was from Mobile area, and all his songs talk about Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, Pensacola, just like Metallica. Actually, yeah. But then as you grow up, it's the yin and the yang, man. I mean, you got to have both sides of you can't just be one way all the time. I can't be like James Hetfield all day, and then you got to be Buffett a little bit. I don't think Buffett ever had a song titled "Kill 'Em All." Master of Puppets. Yeah, I believe that was maybe one of the B-sides for Jimmy Buffett. Yeah, Cheeseburger in Paradise, Master of Puppets. I don't know. Yeah. Justice for Them All. It's the yin and the yang. The Brent Key playlist. I like it. When the Black Album came out, I remember where I was the day I bought the cassette. Really? Slip that in the boombox, crank that to 11. Yeah, we had a little, rattle the walls at home. Friday night birthday party at a friend's house. Went to Eastwood Mall, Turtles Music Store, bought the cassette. That's a core memory right here. Yeah, I like that. Look at that smile. It's rare when I can deliver the best news of the day for you, but having not known the Metallica release its tour dates and you'll have a chance to see them in June, a ball to play between now and then, though. Yes, but I'm the all I talk about is being where your feet are, being in the moment. But you learn from yesterday and you prepare for tomorrow, right? Mm-hmm. Well, I'm preparing for Metallica.
Smart. Yeah, clear that schedule.
Well, I'm sure George Godsey, I don't know, but George Godsey might be the world's biggest Metallica fan.
Okay.
He's a friend of mine and played together. I guarantee he's probably already got tickets.
There you go. Hopefully he bought one for you. And Mercedes-Benz. Get the band back together.
Darkness imprisoning. Master. No.
If we got some time to kill before the end of the show, we can always just turn the microphone over to you.
No, carry on.
Carry on the hits. Somebody who has delivered some hits for you this year. How was that for a segue, by the way? Jordan Vandenberg, and you had a lot of praise for your defensive tackle at your press conference today, and I love the quote that you gave to Chad Bishop of the AJC when they asked about him. He said, every play is a street fight to him. And evidently it's not just you, it's the analytics gurus at Pro Football Focus who are enamored with Jordan as well. They've graded him the number 3 interior defensive lineman in the ACC this season. He's got 4.5 tackles for loss, which leads the Yellow Jackets. It is the type of player that you're seeing from Jordan Vandenberg now, the type of player that you saw when you evaluated him. And I also have to know, is it easier for a former offensive lineman like yourself to get a sense of the nastiness of a defensive lineman when you're evaluating his film?
Yeah, it's one of those things that's hard to explain. You know what you like and you know what you don't like, and you just kind of flip the script, and as an offensive lineman say, okay, what would I not want to play against? All right, a guy that's going to make 2 plays out of 60 plays, or 2 plays out of 30 plays, or a guy that's going to be an absolute battle every single play. He's going to wear me down. He's going to take every bit of energy that I have to be able to go against him. He plays the game the right way. If you look at the what I want this team to be known as, what we work every day for this team to be. JJ has really stepped right in and just embraced that role, and he's so strong. He can take on double teams. He's got the quicks to be able to affect people in the backfield, TFLs, rushing the passer. So really happy to have him on the team.
There was a lot of talk in the preseason about you guys improving your quality depth on the defensive line, particularly at defensive tackle. I know you haven't quite had Horace Lockett yet after his hand injury that he suffered in the preseason, but now that you're approaching your 5th game in 5 weeks, are we starting to see the fruits of that depth at defensive line, and where collectively does that group need to continue to get better?
Yeah, it really is. So the production, as far as statistically, is not necessarily been where people externally expect it to be. But there's a lot of factors behind that as well. But at the end of the day, the job of the defensive line is to stop the run, create havoc plays, and affect the quarterback. And we've done that at times. We've got to continue to be more consistent with it. We have enough guys that we can play a full game and be able to still have guys fresh. But they need to understand that too, and when they're out there, when they have their series in before the rotations, to go and give everything they have, expend all their energy, because you can bring somebody else in there. And look, I'm expecting those guys to continue to improve each week. They showed some improvement last week, and look, I don't look at anything based on opponent. I look at it based on us and how we do things. I thought they were more consistent last week, and we need that this week. We really need a big game, and I challenge those guys during the week. So, excuse me, we'll see where they're at on Saturday.
Yeah, facing a Louisville team that ranks in the top 10 nationally in rushing offense. They've only played 2 games, and they've yet to play a Power 4 opponent, but still they bring in some gaudy numbers on the ground that you guys will look to stifle this Saturday at L&N Federal Credit Union Stadium. Georgia Tech, number 19, Louisville, 3:30, Tommy Leather, our network airtime, 1:30 on the Georgia Tech Sports Network. We'll hit another timeout. We are live from New Realm Brewing on the east side Beltline of Atlanta. The Brent Key Coaches Show is brought to you by Aero Exterminators, going beyond the call. We'll talk more with Brent after this on the Georgia Tech Sports Network. Louisville with head coach Brent Key, the world's preeminent Jimmy Buffett and Metallica enthusiast. As we get set for Tommy's Leather this Saturday, Georgia Tech versus number 19 Louisville, fourth all-time meeting between the Jackets and Cardinals as they'll reprise their matchup in the season opener at Mercedes-Benz Stadium last year. Tay Seymour got his first career start, if I'm not mistaken, versus VMI, filling in for LaMiles Brooks. I know that had to feel good for LaMiles Brooks, who was banged up in that Syracuse game, and Tay responded. 4 tackles, had one of those 10 tackles for loss. Last year, it was not just Clayton Powell-Lee and LaMiles Brooks at safety. It was Jalen King as well. And I don't think anybody is expecting Tay Seymour to be a duplicate of Jalen King this year. But we've seen Tay over the last 2 games really start to find his footing in that defensive backfield. How can he help complement Clayton and LaMiles as part of that trio of safeties this year?
Yeah, Tay's got to continue to improve, which he has, which has been great to see. He's a super talented guy from here in Atlanta. It's always good to get guys from Atlanta, have them in the program, develop them. He played last year as a true freshman on special teams. And just it's a great lesson too for people out there and players out there that everyone wants to. Oh, I want a red shirt. I want to do this. I want to spend have more time for me. Well, Tay last year played a lot of reps on special teams, all right, and not as many on defense, but a lot on special teams. And when you're able to play in a game, whether you're playing on special teams, offense, defense, right, they're game reps. It's the speed of the game you become accustomed to. Now his progression now is further along today than it would have been if he hadn't done that. So I'm excited for Tay. I'm excited where he's at. I'm excited where he's continuing to go. And if he stays on this track, he's going to be a really, really good safety for us.
He was tossed into the deep end in the deep water versus Syracuse. Did wind up with 10 tackles. I know you'd rather your safety not finish with double-digit tackles, but how can that experience on the road, an ACC game, be an informative one for Tay as he gets ready for another road ACC game this weekend? What do you hope were the takeaways from Tay in that game versus Syracuse?
Well, I mean, every game is different. Every game is independent of the other. The experience of being on the road, just from the time you get on the plane to getting to the hotel, the going about the processes at the hotel, the game day processes that are different than when they're at home, which as much as we try to make everything similar, they're not. Going into a loud stadium, so to be able to have those experiences, it's going to continue to pay dividends for them.
You guys are still searching for that first interception. You got a great forced fumble by Amari Harvey on VMI's second series. Clayton Powell-Lee jumped on it, but 4 games in, I know the defensive backfield had higher standards for themselves when it came to getting interceptions. How do you ride that line, though, when you talk and teach and coach your DBs of still having that desire to get an interception, but not leading you down the path of recklessness where you're playing undisciplined, then you give up a bust and it turns into a chunk play for the other team? How do you manage that line with them?
Well, it's not. When you look at turnovers, you look at interceptions, sometimes there's luck, right? Then there's a lot of times that they are film study, being able to anticipate routes, anticipate the break of a route, jump, make a jump on one. And we really didn't have that information for some of these guys. The first game, the second game. The second game was their first game. The third game really was their second game, but only the second game with the quarterback and those receivers. So I'm not by no means making an excuse for it. All right, but number one is if a ball's tipped, all right, we got to have guys around there, and we got to make a break on the ball. All right, tip balls in the air, we want to all be ours. Okay, but if there's not tip balls, then it's got to come back down to our ability to anticipate routes, to make breaks on routes, to play tight coverage. Things we've been really emphasizing and preaching all week. And I thought during the week of practice we had some times where we did some things that we hope occur on Saturday. I'll put it that way.
There you go. One of those cornerbacks who may have given himself more opportunities to snatch an interception is Zach Tobey, your transfer from Illinois. He got a lot of playing time versus VMI and did well with it. 3 tackles, 2 pass breakups. He started 7 games as a freshman at Illinois last year. What ball skills does Zach possess that had you high on him in the portal?
Well, he's a long corner, and anytime you can get corners that look like safeties but can run like corners. It helps on the longer, taller receivers. It helps being able to use your hands, playing jam. You're getting up and jamming them up, playing man to man. Helps you disrupt routes and zone coverages. So he's got his toolbox is full. He's just got to continue to learn how to use them and which ones to use.
This segue is entirely coincidental, but we're going to go from one Zach to another, and that would be your touchdown vulture. Zach Pyron did well in second half action, was 3 of 5 through the air, 58 yards, a touchdown, had 2 rushing touchdowns as well. Was that always part of the plan entering the season to bring Zach out in kind of a goal line sub package? Because we've seen him now punch in some of those short range scores twice versus VMI, had the touchdown in the opening drive versus Florida State.
Yeah, Zach had a really good preseason. He's had a good spring, good preseason camp. Look, as a coach, you're trying to get your best players on the field, right? Regardless of position. All right, then that's up to the coaches to, have the, I don't want to say imagination, but to have the creativity, I guess you'd say, to get those guys on the field. And I think the offensive staff is doing a good job of being able to put him in places. And I look forward to seeing what more he can do.
He hasn't missed so far on some of those goal line snaps yet. You're facing a Louisville team that's only played 2 games. They had a shutout of Austin Peay and then won 49-14 versus Jacksonville State, which lost its opener in blowout fashion by Coastal Carolina. They're coming off a bye. So maybe limited tapes, and maybe they haven't shown all that they'll reveal defensively through those 2 games. But give us the overview of Ron English's defense and the challenges that it presents.
Well, they have an active front. They play really three fronts. There's a lot of fronts, but really you can play 3 down, 4 down, or 5 down. Right? They play all 3 of those. They play them all on normal downs. We call it 5 down. We call it bear. 3 down. It's a form of a mint front where they play 4 eyes on the inside shade of the tackles, which is a close cousin to bear. But they're more of a 2-gap mentality. Then they'll play a 4 down front and then over under, which is based on where they put the 3 technique. They'll run blitz. They will blitz. Run a lot of run stump blitzes. They're active. They got a really good player on the front that's a game wrecker.
Yeah, Gelati.
Yeah, I know statistically he's not what some of the other guys have. It's because people are worried about him and double teaming him, and they play him all over. I mean, they play him on the edge. They play him inside on 3rd down pass rushes. They play him in a 4, in their mint fronts, and he can play all over. They got big linebackers that can run. They're DBs. I think they've got 10 transfers in the 2 deep. And they've gone out and gotten guys that have some length to them. The nickel, the corners, they have some length. They can get their hands on you. So it'll be a really big challenge for our offense.
They were active shopping in the transfer portal, as that 2 deep shows, and they also got a transfer quarterback in Tyler Shuck, 7th-year senior. I believe this will be the first ever 7th-year senior that Georgia Tech will go up against. Well,
I don't know.
7th year?
Well, I mean, he's about the age that Winky was when he was a senior.
Well, it's true, but Winky only played 4. I mean, Winky had the 6 years of minor league ball.
But he was like 27.
So, Winky actually played in the New York Penn League at the same time as Jeff Brom. Yeah.
Really?
They were both playing short season A-ball the same year because Jeff, Louisville's head coach, he was also a draft pick out of high school, and in the summers, he'd play, I think it was in the old Cleveland Indians organization, so he was playing in, I don't know, Batavia or Watertown or one of those New York Penn League cities. Cities is a stretch. And, Chris Winkie was playing for the Toronto Blue Jays, short season A-ball.
In Syracuse, right?
These are the things you look at when you have a lot of time on your hands in the summer. Yes, indeed. Yeah, Chris Winkie, you could just, the smile on his face ear to ear at being back in Syracuse, New York, where he spent a very frigid spring and summer for the old Syracuse Chiefs, the AAA affiliate of the Toronto Blue Jays. Tell you what, we got to hit one last time out. We'll finish up the Louisville Cardinals and the scouting report on them. 3:30 kick time on Saturday at L&M Federal Credit Union Stadium in Louisville. It's the Brent Keith Coaches Show. We're back to wrap it up after this on the Georgia Tech Sports Network. On your phone or anywhere, go to GALottery.com and click on DigiGames. Big thanks to all of you in our live crowd tonight at New Realm Brewing on the East Side Beltline of Atlanta. We're here every Thursday on the rooftop during game week. That means won't have a show next Thursday, but you're always welcome to come out and visit our fine friends at New Realm Brewing. Georgia Tech and Louisville, fourth all-time meeting. It takes place this Saturday in Louisville, 3:30 Tommy's Leather. Our network airtime is at 1:30, and as we alluded to before the coach, they feature Tyler Shuck, their quarterback, who I believe was in the same recruiting class as George Godsey. He's 24 years old, 7th year of college, started at Oregon, then Texas Tech, and now in his first and only season at Louisville, 42 career touchdown passes. He's been efficient in 2 games. What stands out about him as a thrower?
I mean, you just said it, his efficiency. They run offensively, they do a lot he things. That's the best way of saying it. I mean, trying to have a fancy word. I don't know fancy words like you do, but he does a lot of stuff. I mean, he's under center, he's in the gun, pistol. They run 2-back offense. They have play action off of it. They'll spread people out. A lot of screens. Completion-driven throws, especially early, and then they'll sit back and take their shots.
So it sounds like it's a Byzantine offense. You're looking for a big word. Excessively complicated, understood by a few. Byzantine. Drop that at the meeting tomorrow.
No.
See what kind of reaction you get. Okay.
No, I won't remember it by then.
You probably won't remember it by the time we sign off. They're number 9 in the nation in rushing offense. What's made them effective in the ground game? What are some of their bread and butter running plays?
They have them all. I mean, you name it, they have them. Whether it's inside zone, outside zone, counter, power, all the perimeter plays, the lead plays, duo, bend backs. I mean, they have them all. So it'd be interesting to see kind of what package they put together for us, and we'll have to defend it.
Has it felt weird prepping for this game? Because, like we said, they've only played 2 games. One versus an FCS opponent, one versus a non-Power 4 opponent, and then they had a bye. You guys, meanwhile, are getting ready for your 3rd ACC game. Has that made the prep and the game planning feel unorthodox this week?
No, not at all. Hadn't really even thought about it.
Do you feel like they maybe have held some things back, especially offensively? Just because they won both of their games blowout fashion, maybe didn't want to show the whole kitchen set to you guys?
In 24 years of coaching, there's never been one game early in the season we've ever gone into where we said, we got this one wrapped up. We can hold things back. I mean, that just doesn't happen. Do they adapt and change week to week based on their game plan? Yeah. Mm-hmm. But as far as holding things back, I mean, the personnel is still the personnel. I mean, even the games where they had easy wins, they had the guys still playing in there in the fourth quarter. So,
all right, final question. This is your 2nd road ACC game. You didn't get the outcome you wanted at Syracuse. What do you hope your guys learned from that experience, that effort versus the Orange, that you want them to remember, internalize, and help them get the outcome they do want this Saturday?
That losing sucks.
Yeah. Sometimes the simplest answer is the right one.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to feel one of 2 ways in the locker room after a game: complete or incomplete.
Well, hopefully it'll be a celebratory locker room, and you can cue up the Jimmy Buffett or the Metallica, or maybe
how about we'll play the Ramblin' Wreck.
Fair enough. All right, we'll do that. That wraps up the Brent Key Coaches Show. He's Brent Key. I'm Andy DiMattro. Thanks so much for joining us once again. 3:30 this Saturday, Tech and Louisville. We'll talk to you next time on the Brent Key Coaches Show. Good night, everyone.